Shalom, shalom. I'd like to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash, and double honors to the apostles and elders, great millstone. Hey, brothers, some of these photos are going to be hard to sit through, but those of us in the knowledge and the truth, we know we got to deal with the bitter and the sweet of the scriptures, you know. But I'm sure many of you brothers have heard and or seen what occurred on at, should I say, the Vanity Affair event with Russell Wilson and or his wife, Russell Wilson, pardon me, and his wife Ciarra. Brothers, and I'm gonna just say this humbly as a man. I personally believe that this is part of some humiliation ritual. But as we filter this situation through the scriptures, we're going to learn and understand that Ciarra is full of demons. And as the scripture states, a woman shall compass a man, right? Because even as I looked at the photos here, looking at Russell Wilson's face, man, this brother is being humiliated here. You know, any man that has the smallest pair of balls would check this shit, man. Okay? Man, look at this guy here, man. Russell Wilson, man, you're through, man. You're finished as a man. Like, let me go to another picture of let me find another one of him, man. Goodness grief, man. Look at this brother. Look at this man's face, man. He looks completely completely dismantled, man. My father was in the military, man, and he was able to break down AK-47 and I'm sure various other guns. But if you ever seen the gun broken completely down, there's nothing you can do with it. And that's how Russell Wilson looks right now, man. But let me come out of this, brothers, because of course we want to filter this situation through the scriptures as we always do here on this channel. And I'm reading from Ecclesiasticus chapter 25 verse 13, and we read on down. We'll skip various scriptures, but we want to get to the point because there's a little bit of reading I have to do in this particular lesson, but through the Spirit I pray that it is edifying. Let's get right into it. 13, and it reads, a wound, pardon me brothers, any wound, but not the wound of the heart, meaning the mind, mental illness, any wickedness but the wickedness of a woman, any suffering but not the suffering from one's foes, any vengeance, but not the vengeance of one's enemies. Pardon me, brothers, a little bit of indigestion there. Let's pick right back up. Verse 15, there is no poison worse than that of a serpent, no venom greater than that of a woman. You can look at Russell Wilson's face and tell that he is going through it. What does the scripture mean by venom? It's amazing that the scriptures liken a wicked woman unto a serpent, and her behavior and the grief that she'll bring upon you is likened unto venom, man. Verse 16, I would rather live with a dragon or a lion than to live with a wicked woman. Listen to verse 17 very closely. A wicked woman's, a woman's wicked disposition changes her appearance. Meaning that spirit and those legion of demons on her is going to make her carry herself differently, behave differently. She's going to act opposite of a righteous woman, because we'll see how a righteous woman is supposed to carry herself in a moment. And makes her face as dark as a bear. Let me go back to something, brothers. If you're looking closely, well, I'm sure many brothers have looked closely. Brother, if you brothers are paying attention here, some of you simple brothers, you would think this is a beautiful woman, but those of us who can discern through the Spirit, we understand this woman is full of demons. Okay, this is like a brother is going to reference later in a video I'm going to tie in here. This is a Jezebel spirit here, brothers. And you brothers got to understand that, man. And a lot of you brothers don't get it, man. But I'm using Russell as a backdrop because many of you brothers are dealing with women of this like nature, and they operate in this fashion. Let's come out of this, man. Let's go back to where we were reading. Right? And I'll start over at 17. A woman's wicked disposition changes her appearance and makes her face as dark as a bear. When her husband sits among his neighbors, a bitter sigh escapes him unaware. You can't tell me after this night, man, after this night, the following morning, I'm sure everybody was calling Russ, I'm sure some of his guys, he sighed bitterly over that shit, man. It wouldn't surprise me if he shed tears. Verse 19. There is hardly an evil like that in a woman. May she fall to the lot of the sinner. Let me come down a verse, right? Verse 21 is the point. Do not be enticed by a woman's beauty or be greedy for her wealth. We jump down to verse 23. Why is that? Because it's going to bring you what? A depressed mind. Remember we talked about Russell Wilson's face? A gloomy face and a wounded heart, a wicked woman, droopy hands, and quaking knees. Any wife who does not make her husband happy. Oh my goodness, man. Can you brothers see it now through the Spirit, right? Verse 24. With a woman, sin had a beginning, because all this began because of Eve. And because of her, we all die. Allow water no outlet, and no boldness of speech to a wicked woman. Verse 26 tells us how to finish this all off. If she does not go along as you direct her, cut her off away from you, man. You mean to tell me you can't look at this situation, look at how his wife is dressed, and tell me that there wasn't some bold conversations, right? You can't tell me that the husband, Russell Wilson, desired his wife to walk out this way, right? So the law, even though, we're not under the law, we're under grace, but the law still stands. We should be keeping the law to the best of our ability. If my woman carried on, she's basically butt-ass naked, man. You have every right to cut this kind of woman off away from you, brothers. This shit is an embarrassment here, man. And that's what you brothers have to understand, and I hope that you see that through the scriptures here. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 26, verse 7, and I'll read on down. An evil wife is a yoke shaken to and fro. He that hath hold of her is as if though he held a scorpion. A drunken woman and a gatter abroad causes great anger. I'm sure Russell Wilson had a slew of emotions dealing with that shit, man. And listen to what the scripture says. I'm gonna start over. A drunken woman and a gatter abroad causes great anger, and she will not cover her own shame. The whoredom of a woman, verse 9. The whoredom of a woman may be known in her haughty looks and eyelids. Verse 10 applies to Ciarra's father, as well as the husband as well. But I want to focus on the father for a second, brothers, because verse 10 reminds us why we should perpetually, even when our daughters grow, check them if she doesn't have a husband. Even if my daughter did have a husband, I would check her. To be honest with you. Verse 10, if thy daughter be shameless, keep her in straitly, lest she abuse herself through much liberty. Watch over an impudent eye, and marvel not if she trespass against thee. If this isn't a trespass, brother, I don't know what the hell is. Look at this shit here, man. Like I said, look how miserable this man looks. Oh my goodness, man. Let me come out of this. Let's start over at verse 13. And that's the spirit right there. Because I wasn't going to read 12, but I'm going to read 12 and 13, right? She will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler when he hath found a fountain, and drink of every water near her. By every hedge she will sit down and open her quiver against every arrow. Now it is alleged, again, it's alleged that Ciarra, or should I say Future, still checks in on Ciarra, tunes her up from time to time. Now what type of shit is that, man? And it's not hard to believe, considering how Ciarra is always on the internet twerking, always on the internet doing something outlandish, always dressing like a whore, a prostitute, right? But verse 13 should tell you, the grace of a wife delighteth her husband, and her discretion will fatten his bones. Russell Wilson, you're looking sad out here, my man. You're looking rough out here, dude. It's not looking good for you, man. Let me come out of this shit here, man. See, brothers, this is why it behooves us, right? That's why it should be a sense of urgency on us to serve the Lord. So the Lord, he does the matchmaking, right? He's going to put a righteous man with a righteous woman. Verse 14, a silent and loving woman is a gift of the Lord. And there is nothing so much worth as a mind well instructed, because the Lord is going to pair, he puts the couples together, right? He, like as the scripture states, a wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man, but a silent and loving woman is from the Lord. You'll be able to instruct her mind, right? Verse 15, a shamefaced and faithful woman is a double grace, and her continent mind cannot be valued. I want to help you understand something. Just that scripture alone, right? There's no amount of money that Russell Wilson can pay to get Ciarra to obey him, right? But the Lord may give a brother that's seeking him, like you or me or any brother that's listening to this lesson, he'll give us a shamefaced and a faithful woman. And as the scripture states, she's a double grace, right? And her continent mind cannot be valued. Russell's a multi-millionaire. And what the Lord will give us, he can't even pay for it. Oh my goodness, man. Let's come from there, right? Because we understand, as we grow in this knowledge and the truth, 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 9 tells us, in like manner also, that women adorn themselves in modest apparel, with shamefacedness and sobriety, not with broidered hair or gold or pearls or costly array. Brothers, isn't this shit here the exact opposite? Let me come out of there, man. It's starting to irritate me the more I read these scriptures and think about it, right? Because this is the spirit that Ciarra is currently in. Not only is she in that Jezebel spirit, but also she's operating in the spirit of witchcraft. How do we know? 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 23. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. See, this is sinful here. This is witchcraft and idolatry. Ciarra wants to be worshipped. She wants to be talked about. She wants to cause a stir. Let me come out of this, man. And lastly, brothers, this is what we have to remember. While we're under these curses, this is part of our judgment for turning away from the Lord our power. Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 22. How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter, Ciarra? The Lord hath created a new thing. But don't get me wrong, this scripture is also referring to the entire house of Israel, but as of right now, it can apply to Ciarra, right? For the Lord hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man. See, Russell Wilson, right now, he's being compassed, right? And what does it mean to be compassed? Let's scroll all the way down to the very bottom here, right? This is the definition that we want. It means to, number one, go around in a circular course. She's running circles around that brother. Number two, it means to contrive to accomplish something. She contrived against him, man. You can tell, man. Nobody just you have damn demons on you, will wake up and do outlandish things. Contrive. Right? It means to create or bring about an object, or a situation by deliberately use of skill and artifice. Bring about, engineer, manufacture, create, stage manage, devise. You can't tell me, man, she didn't devise this shit here, man. Russell ain't wake up and say, hey, babe, I want you to wear this. Get the fuck out of here, man. Brothers, I want to also, and of course YouTube under the Fair Use Act, I want to use this clip here because even this man in the world, as you can see, he's a Jake. He doesn't know what the hell is going on. He has a clean shaven face, hair lined up, but what a broken clock is right twice a day. Listen to what he has to say here. Let this play.
Ciarra, no better than the first wife.
Let it start over.
Russ, hit the eject button. You can't be at a prison one day singing gospel songs with your wife, and then the next day be on somebody's red carpet with your wife butt naked, dressed like a stripper. Hit the eject. I hate to tell anybody to get a divorce, but hey, man, you got a Jezebel on your hands. She is not taking you the right direction. She is emasculating you. Russ, you're 0 for 2. Ciarra, no better than the first wife.
And as I said, brothers, a broken clock is right twice a day. And this man here, he was correct. Shalom.